Hey, LaShonda.
Girl, hi.
I don't even know how to start.
I'm LaShonda,
And I'm Angela.
and we're a Black woman and a white woman walk into a bar. We should actually both be pretty much shit-faced right now, but what's been going on in the world has left us both shocked into sobriety, full sobriety, like one
This
eye
is
open, sleeping. It's
this is how
trash.
this is how bad it is for me. I'm not drinking. I'm eating ice cream. I want my ice cream. But
As I
before
wring my hands on
I
camera, I'm
know,
like,
right?
"Ugh." I'm
Right?
actually rubbing my moisturizer in. I'm in the middle of I'm making a special batch for a special order of my Shonda butter. So that's what's happening. That's what I'm doing like right now. Literally, it's just over there coming back to room temperature after being reconstituted from liquid into, yeah, that shit. Anyway, what is this mess?
Well, before we start that, can I tell kind of a funny story? Just
Please. Yes, we need
so
some comic relief.
when I turned on my computer and I had done a Zoom call earlier, and I may talk about that, I may not, whatever. But I noticed my camera was really blurry. I'm like, why is my camera? And I've had issues with this webcam, so I was like, oh gosh, another problem with my camera. So I'm going online, I'm troubleshooting, I'm looking, and it's like update the drivers, da, 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 da. And then all of a sudden I thought, I wonder if my camera's dirty. so so I got my little and I wiped it off, and it's all it's all crisp. I was like, I'm like, sometimes you just got to go old school, low tech, to fix your problems. I was like, I immediately go for like, oh yeah. So, and yeah. So that was my little amusement of the day. But yeah, I don't even know where to start. I mean, we talked about this before, as you know, if you watched our show, we usually have a theme. We're just like, how can we even talk about anything else? But then what's there to say about it? It is what it is. It's just I don't even know. This is probably going to be the worst show ever, but I think we should just accept that and just let it go so we can, yeah, just see what happens. But we didn't want to not do our show, and we wanted to, we just, I don't know, just, we're feeling
We're doing
it.
it because we think it'll actually help. Like hearing other people actually talk about this and not just post memes of the madness, because the memes can be funny, but like it's also not. Like this isn't an isolated incident. It looks like they're going to start to have to treat the bowels of America and the whole, I guess, movement of violent peoples the way that they treat unarmed Black people.
Wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't that be something? Trash. It's all trash, man. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. It makes me so bloody mad. It makes me so mad. Sorry, I just realized my nail was slightly.
Yeah, this is the show where we eat ice cream.
Show.
We should have put on. Well, I was gonna say we should have put on our jammies. I kind of almost am in my jammies.
I from the red lipstick matches my red pajama pants.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm in my y'all t-shirt, which is like so well loved that it's cracking.
Yeah.
It is what it is today. I think a lot of us are feeling that way, and nobody really wants to talk about it. And I'm like, but I want to talk about it because we've been saying that these people are this bad for a long time. We've been telling folks, and folks didn't believe Black folks when they told them about this. And I've even heard things like, well, the Klan doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, right.
Okay, people.
They might have a different name, honey, but they still are around.
They're still around. They're still around, and they stormed the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday, like in the middle of the day. And by stormed, I mean had the gates opened for them by sympathizers who happened to be in uniform.
I said, you know,
How's that?
I said, it looks like they're waiting for their guided tour to start. They're just like strolling in. And I couldn't
And by
help.
stroll, we mean climbing walls and
Well, once they got in,
the gallows and.
But once they got in, they were
nooses.
just like strolling around. It was like, there was no sense that I just did something illegal or bad or wrong, or I shouldn't be. And then,
No.
of course, this goes without saying, but I have to say it. I couldn't help immediately contrasting that with Black Lives Matter marches in the summer, over the summer. And the pictures, the images of the the military, you know, the SWAT police, like basically pretty much standing shoulder to shoulder across all the steps of the Capitol building with their full-on riot gear. And it's like, for people who were peacefully protesting, that they were Black.
One of my favorite memes that's come out of this is one that says, if you don't know where the police were, you're probably one of those people that thinks that doesn't know, that hasn't realized that Hannah disappears when Miley is on stage.
Yeah. It's just, it's bad.
Drinking
And
seltzer water, so.
the only, and people can accuse me of always looking on the bright side. I don't, but you know, but I have to say, the only thing that makes me feel a tiny bit better about this is that we can't change things until we see the truth. And, you know,
not just see the truth, but acknowledge the truth and say, I'm fucking sorry.
See it and speak it.
There needs to be a full-on South Africa style Truth and Reconciliation Commission that comes with reparations, that comes with, this is what we won't do anymore, that comes with, these are the people that are in charge of us not doing this anymore, that comes with all of that. Like, it needs to be serious, but I know it won't be. Why? Because white supremacy is in the fabric, woven into the fabric of this country. I mean, I want to be pleasantly surprised. I want to be pleasantly surprised, but I'm not really planning on it, like, because it's just not. How do people denounce everything that's built their nation? Like, how do they do it?
Yeah. Well, I 100% agree with you. And we don't agree on everything, by the way, LaShawn and I.
But, no, we don't. We definitely don't agree on everything.
But this is so obvious to me that this has to happen. I mean, for those of you who don't know, I have a background in psychology and I was a therapist for a while and a mediator. And I just know this because I've learned it working with people. Nothing changes until you acknowledge the truth and you speak the truth, and nothing changes if you don't. We can put band-aids on things. It's not going to help. It's not going to last. We have to acknowledge our complicity. We have to let people tell their stories. We have to listen. You know, the thing that's I find interesting, and I wish I had a way of sharing this with people that they would get it, but the amount of energy that you have to spend keeping things buried is so much harder than just dealing with it. And I just want to say, can we just fucking deal with this now? Can we just listen to our fellow?
They're not keeping it buried. Donald Trump gave everybody the permission to no longer be buried. So come out wherever you are, fly your Confederate flags and storm the Capitol. It's not buried anymore.
Well, I don't mean that. I I can't. Yeah. I think this is this on top of all the other stuff that we've gone through over the past few months. I feel like, it's funny because I've been saying this for a long time that this moment was coming, and but I don't feel any kind of, because this is not like I'm any great prognosticator, but just this is just what happens. You can only tell people to wait for so long before they say, I'm not going to wait anymore. And you can only ignore violent, abusive behavior for so long. Because by ignoring it, you're giving your tacit approval. And so, I mean, I felt that this was coming, but I don't feel any kind of joy. I feel no satisfaction in that. I'm just really tired.
Same.
And I just feel like, I don't know the way forward, LaShonda. I don't know, because it feels like such a huge divide, with people who think that they have some kind of entitlement that I don't understand, and but I don't understand. I don't know. I don't even want to go there. It's just, this is just really hard.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. Although I think it took radical underground militia groups and white supremacists storming the Capitol for the Capitol to pay attention to this. I think it's for that.
Yeah.
I think, because I promise you that they would have, this would not have been a conversation if they hadn't.
Right.
Now the question is, what are you going to do about it? You're good at one-offs, like, the Unabombers and stuff of the world. You're great at that. You're great at doing this in other countries. What are you going to do domestically? Your house is really dirty. You got to clean it.
Yeah. And I guess what we should talk about, or what I want to, not that I have any answers to it, but I feel like what we should talk about is, because we have to acknowledge that this shit is going on. Can't ignore it. But I feel like, for me, like, what I've been thinking about is what can I do, like, on a local level, like because I can't change anybody's mind, with these guys, assholes. I can't do anything about it. I can't do much about the politics. I mean, I pay attention, I vote, I call my representatives, I do that. But beyond that, there's only so much each of us can do for those large level things. Because most of us aren't in a position of power. I'm not trying to in any way dissuade people from getting involved on a bigger level, because I think that's very necessary. But what I'm trying to figure out is, what can I do that makes me feel like I'm actually doing something? And for me, that has to be, it has to be local. It's something that makes sense. What do I do with my piece of the jigsaw puzzle, with the people that are around me? What can I do for my community? What can, because we can all feel grief and anger over this, but I think, the only way out of that is action. But I'm really struggling with that,
Well, for me, it started in Brooklyn when I stopped going to local establishments that didn't hire African-American folks or women.
That's good.
Having the one Black man work for you, thank you. That's not it. Not when you're in an African-American neighborhood, or primarily folks of the African diaspora neighborhood. You can't find one. You can find one person to hire. You can't find two, even though we're the ones spending our money there, a lot of our money. No, this is why when I come back, where do I go? I go to Old to Babel. I love Ode to Babel. It's an African-American woman-owned bar and relaxation space in Prospect Heights. Fantastic. I've had a couple of gatherings there, and they've been nothing but absolutely lovely. And people are always like, let's meet in the neighborhood. And I'm like, where in the neighborhood does it look like this here though? Where in the neighborhood do they hire, Black women with natural hair? Where in the neighborhood do they play music that respects where they are and who's in there? So for me, local means Atlanta, thank God now, because you don't have to, like during COVID, I'm obviously not going out much. But I have been supporting like small artists, I noted that a woman that I admire and that I used to just see twirling and I knew it was her party. Even if it wasn't her party, I'm pretty sure it was her party. Even if it wasn't her party, it felt like her party. She was always in some gorgeous dress and she was always dancing at a club that I went to years ago in New York City. And so there is a photograph of her on this t-shirt, DJ. I bought one because I love those days. I love everything about New York at that time. And I also really admire her because she's fantastic. So, little things like that are what I personally am doing. The biggest thing I've done is get myself out to vote in every election. During COVID, in person.
I can't tolerate when folks tell me they don't vote because it doesn't matter. It's not acceptable. People died for your right to do that.
Georgia is proof positive that it really does matter.
It does matter. And people will say to me, well, why vote in New York? Because I know how New York's going to go. Like, but you're ignoring down ballot, just because you don't just vote for the president. There are other people on the ballot.
That are locals.
That are local. You got to vote for them too. And so if you choose to opt out, then you don't get a say. That's my feeling. Like, don't be talking to me about what you think about anything. I don't care about your opinion if you don't vote. I just don't, yeah. So, well, I'm just wondering what other people out there.
Yeah, how are y'all doing?
And what do you do for this? Like, what do you do to keep yourself sane? And what do you do to be involved?
During COVID.
Yeah, during COVID. Yeah.
Like,
LaShawn and I started a YouTube talk show.
Oh, I also bought a bunch of stuff. These are some of the packs that I've already made. These are free period packs. And some of the packs there are four pads and 3 tampons. I dropped off about, I would say a half a dozen today at one of my community fridges. So if you have a community fridge, there's a good chance they need things like this for feminine hygiene, for people who are unhoused, and for,
and if you don't have a community fridge, maybe start a community fridge.
It's an amazing effort. Like yesterday, it was food day, and then I wasn't sure how to distribute these products. And then I saw how the community fridge angels here were doing it. Is then they were packing things in Ziploc bags. And I was like, oh, okay, I have Ziploc bags. I can do that. So I have a bunch of these here ready to go. I need to write on them what's in them so that people know what they are, because women of different ages and people who menstruate at different ages don't necessarily want to use something that is an insert. So yeah, so for people who menstruate, you know, and that's not only women, for the record. That is also trans men. That is also, you know, folks whose pronouns are not her, she. So yes,
So
it's a
yeah,
good
so I
thing
think
to
that,
do.
thank you for sharing that, because I think it's important to remember that when we talk about getting involved in doing something, it's not necessarily political. I mean, it is political because everything's political, but you know what I mean. It's, you know, it can be, you know, doing something for people in your community. It doesn't have to
Do
be.
something for people in your community. There's
Yeah.
just do it. Just please do it.
And
Even
not
if
only,
it's very small, even if it's dropping off a whole bunch of cup of noodles, even if it's like, if you have a community fridge, donating an old microwave, they can use that because people need hot things, especially in parts of the country where it gets chilly. You know, that hot soup, even if it's just a cup of noodles, could save somebody, you know?
I think the great thing about this program, because I think it's awesome, and you were the one that brought it to my attention, is that it focuses, that it points out how we need to do stuff from the top level. You know, our tax money needs to go serve the people better. But the top down is not the way to go, because the people at the top, they don't know what your local community needs. You know what your local community needs. You know what people in your local community need. So that's a very good reason for getting involved with stuff on a local level, because you know you know you know what people need. And also, I just want to say too that it's not just for, it's for selfish reasons too, to get, you know, that you get involved, because you're going to feel better, you know,
Yeah. Well, that,
helping
and
somebody else.
also I had really awful times in New York. Like Angela knows the story. Some of you out there might even know the story. But I had really hard times. Things like that. Like if there was a community fridge, I might be someone who would have used that,
I would have
because
at one point. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, life ebbs and flows. You never know. You're at the top today, you could be bottom tomorrow. So when I'm going to do something like that. I'm going to drop off some soups. I'm going to, you know, get an extra bag of apples. It's $3 at Trader Joe's, and drop that in the fridge. And so someone who has a kid who wants them to eat less sweets can grab an apple out of that fridge and say, here, you know, because just because you are you know, it's like they say on the New York City subway, you don't have to be homeless to be hungry. There are plenty of folks who can't be evicted right now, and who have a house and who have no means of getting food because the stimulus is being held up. This is for them too. You could live right down the street. Okay, you don't have money for things like this, so come and get those, you know?
Yeah, and especially now we've all been stuck in our houses, so we can be more unaware. I mean, you know, it's harder to see what's happening, because we're all, you know, a lot of us, if we have the luxury of not having to go out to work, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we're not seeing every day the impact,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So maybe we could ask people, share, if you want to share, if you could share things that you're doing, things that your community is doing that you think are great ideas that other people might be able to use or duplicate. Um, you know, what do you do to make your little jigsaw section of the jigsaw puzzle, you know, a better place?
Yeah.
That'd be great. I don't know if we want to stay on too much longer, Sean. I feel like there's not much else to say. I mean, I just
There's
want, you know,
nothing to
other than,
say.
you know, everybody needs to hang in. Please take care of yourselves. Check in
Stay
with people.
safe. Stay out of DC. If you live in DC,
Yeah.
please
Yeah.
do not. Just don't. Especially if you look anything like me. Just
Mm,
don't. Stay
yeah.
home. stay home.
We need you around.
We need you around. We want you around, and we love you. That includes my Maryland folks, because not everybody knows this, but it's DC, Maryland, Virginia, DCVA, DCMVA. I don't know what they call it. Whatever. Yeah. So we just please stay safe. Keep yourselves together. And some folks that listen know me. Some folks that listen know Angela. Some folks that listen and watch this every week know both of us. Feel free to DM either or both of us. We can have a collective Zoom and just listen,
We would be happy to do that.
Yeah. Doesn't need to be recorded. None of
Right.
that needs
No, it
to
wouldn't be,
happen.
yeah.
Just, just know that one of the reasons that we're doing this is also so that folks who were literally shut in like I am every week, like I talk to people, but that's it, feel like they also have us as their friends, right?
Yeah.
So just consider us your neighborhood friends and holler, just let us know.
Yeah. Because that's the only thing that's gotten me through some tough times.
Same.
Seriously. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. And also I want to say, don't forget, if your camera is blurry on your laptop, try wiping it with the towel. Yeah, that was so funny. I was laughing at myself. So
that is the whole thing though.
Yeah,
I have to be careful sticking the film on my phone because like I have a phone and there's like a film thing there's like a screen protector.
Yeah.
And so I was like, take a photo before and take one after and make sure that they're the same. And put your glasses on when you make sure that they're the same because you won't. Yeah. I just got a note from the eye doctor talking about it's time for your annual eye exam. And I'm like,
I gotta do that too.
I'm like, y'all need to leave my eyes alone. I can see just fine, which is what I thought before I got my eyes checked in 2018. I hadn't gotten my eyes checked in a decade. And then I went and got them checked and they were like, yeah, you need glasses to see stuff that's far away. And then a year later, I went and got them checked and they're like, yeah, you could benefit from a good pair of solid readers. And it was like,
you moved into bifocal territory, girlfriend.
I don't know what you just said. I'm sorry. Did you say something?
What doesn't make sense to me is because my eyesight is so bad. I am super nearsighted. I can't see anything in distance. I wear super strong lenses. But then I started getting, the needing the readers thing. And I'm like, the two should cancel out. That doesn't seem fair. Why am I getting both? It should cancel out, but the world.
Do you want to see something crazy? This is why I don't have bifocals.
I'm having some ice cream while you do that.
Please. This is for seeing things close up, right? Like you. This is for seeing things far away. This is for seeing things close up.
You got enough glasses there?
There's a pair in my car right now that
yeah.
that I have to use when I'm driving because it helps me see things far away. So no BIFOCALS.
I will never utter that word in your presence again.
I don't even know that word. Who's that? I love you, Angela. You're one of the friends that I have that when the world is crumbling, we can find a reason to laugh.
Yeah. Because, it's either that or dissolve into a sobbing heap on the floor, and that does nobody any good.
Doesn't do anybody any good.
I feel good for a minute, but I only laugh. I always say I have this story. I'll tell a quick story.
Mhm.
When I got my diagnosis of Parkinson's, a friend said to me, and she said, "What'd you do the next day?" And I said, "I went to work." She said, "Why'd you go? You went to work?" I said, "Well, I had a board meeting. I had to go to work." And she said, "I don't know how you did that." She said, "I would have just crawled into bed and cried." I said, "I did that over the weekend." I said, "But I got bored after about half an hour." So, I mean, it's like, you can, yeah, sometimes you need to just crawl into a heap, whatever, but it gets boring. You got to do something.
It does, and it's a necessary part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like the
But
crying
it's not
heap.
the end of it.
But it's not the end of it because it doesn't solve the problem. And sometimes it's a problem that you can't solve. Sometimes it's not something that you can actually do anything about. And so those are the things, that's when the sober serenity prayer comes into play, in terms of asking for assistance for the things that you can change and for acceptance for the things that you can't. But in this particular case, people actually voted for this person. And so those people have some things to think about.
I think that's where we want to leave it, because that's the perfect closer. All right, my friend, hang in there.
Girl, I will.
Love you tons.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm going from this chair to the other side of the counter.
I'm gonna go watch some Star Trek.
Yeah, what time is it? It's like, I think it's almost housewives time. So I'm gonna do that and play chemist. Okay, love. Take good care of yourself.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you guys for watching us, for supporting us. Please subscribe if you haven't. Even in the worst of times, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. And I totally agree with what LaShawna said. Be in touch with us if we can help in any way. That's what we're here for. That's what we're all here for.
Facts.
We need to learn that.
Girl.
All right, my friend, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. I'm LaShonda.
And I'm Angela.
And we are a Black woman and a white woman walking to a bar.
Bye, guys.
Mwah.